In a world where PlayStation 5 is stuck in some sort of limbo, and Lawbreakers is apparently still a relevant topic, this is Sick and Wired.
Hey everybody, welcome to the fourth and final episode, just kidding, of Sick and Wired podcast. I am one of your hosts, David, who is the PR officer extraordinaire and Rocket League aficionado who apparently is now fired. This is my last episode. I will be doing my farewell at the end.
That's what he meant by last episode for him.
I am hosting with Devin.
What's up, guys?
Who is the man, the myth, and the legendary butthole.
I mean, he's the one who fired you, so.
This is true. Yeah,
that's where his legendary status comes from.
Yeah, the butthole comment did it.
We also have hosting with us Nathaniel.
Hey guys, I'm the one who's interrupting.
Yeah, and everybody whose favorite editor also starts with an N in his name. And we also have Will, who is our staff writer and sometimes podcaster.
What's going on, everybody?
There he is. All right, so real quick, as we always like to start these off with, what's everybody been playing lately? We'll start off with Devin.
Well, you know what I've been playing.
Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Everyone else is on that Black Ops train, but I'm still trying to beat Assassin's Creed.
Just trying to.
How is that, by the way? Like, how far are you into that so far?
I'm probably about. I think I'm at like 17 hours.
Nice.
17, dang.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I think like you said like earlier, some people were like comparing it to The Witcher. I think that's a very horrible classification and comparison, but it's a good game. It's definitely, because I didn't play the which was the one that came out before
Origins?
Odyssey.
Origins.
Yeah. I didn't play Origins.
Yeah,
so I didn't play Origins. So this was just like, I'm used to like the older Assassin's Creeds, so I'm just like kind of like trying to figure this all out, but
because it's a
I'm
whole
having
new
a good
thing,
time with it.
basically, compared to the ones before Origins.
Yeah, it just doesn't feel like Assassin's Creed to me. But
well, even like with Origins, like, and I played maybe an hour of Origins, and it just, I don't know what it was, it just didn't click with me, and maybe I need to go back and give it like some more, more time or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people liked Origins, but it was like the Assassin's Creed titles just weren't quite there yet, and I feel like with this one, with everybody's reception of it, like really nailed it this time. So, but Nathaniel, what have you been playing lately?
I've been playing 3 games. I actually just got off of Black Ops a little while ago. My roommate was renting it, so I've played a little bit. I only played Blackout, but it's basically a funner PUBG/Fortnite, I feel like.
I would agree with you.
And I've been playing The World Ends With You. I traded in some games because I just couldn't resist. I was like, I need this game. I've already played through it on the DS and my phone, but I just freaking love this game. So, and then Assassin's Creed.
What is your reception of Assassin's Creed so far?
So I did play some of Origins. I didn't actually beat it, but going into Odyssey, I love this game. I think it's really great. It has some. It has some flaws, but it's really fun. I like where Assassin's Creed is going personally.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that they're definitely taking like the time to better the franchise, especially since they kind of ran it into the ground a couple years ago when they were like annualizing it. So
yeah, and I mean, you got this amazing feature where you could climb on Zeus's junk. So who doesn't want
even
that?
Better. I'm buying that game tonight just for that.
It's pretty interesting.
Like, yeah.
The climbing part or the game?
A little bit of both. I don't know. Like, I'm just like a very, very, and like I've probably said this a million times, I'm like a huge Greek or anything like Roman history buff. Like, just I am absolutely in love with stuff like that. So like that's why this one hits home for me, and it's pretty awesome. I'm not gonna spoil
you just say the word Zeus and I'm pregnant, just like that.
Jesus Christ.
And like I'm not gonna say anything, but Nathaniel, like the opening scene. I'm like, oh yes, here we go. I'm not gonna even dive into that. But
How about you, Will?
I'll
What
say
you
we
been
just
playing?
went from talking about godly penises to Devin going, "Oh yeah, let's go."
Well, you're the one who connected those two, so.
I did. It's all for the people.
this is why you're fired after this podcast.
Yeah, I mean it's whatever. I'll find.
Sad to
another
see you
gig.
go. Not.
Hey now. Hey Will, what have you been playing lately, buddy?
Well, I haven't really had a lot of time to play games, but I have been like chipping away at like Spider-Man.
What do you think about it so far?
I actually think it's really good. It surpassed my expectations actually, and I really love. Like I had high expectations for because Spider-Man's like my favorite character. So.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say roughly how far are you into it? Like without spoiling anything, in case there are some people out there that still haven't played it.
I'd say that I'm 1/3 of the way in, like as far as.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sweet. All right. Well, I personally have been playing. I mean, I just got off playing some Forza Horizon 4. Game's pretty dope. Not gonna lie. If you want to read
did
my
a review on that.
I did do the review on it, and I gave it a 9.5, and I think that it is extremely well deserving of that score. I know some people said that they have come across issues while playing the game. I personally did not really come across any issues. You can read more about my thoughts on the game if you go to sickcritic.com and look up Forza Horizon 4 review.
It's pretty solid. Pretty solid review.
Yeah, I put some time into it. When I looked down and saw the word count was at over 1,700 words, I was like, yeah, I think this is probably one of my longest reviews that I've typed. And obviously, given the score, you can tell that I absolutely love those games. I've pretty much played every single one of any of the Forza games since the very first one.
So you didn't actually review the game; you just typed the review for someone else.
I did just type the review for somebody else. Yes, that's exactly it. All of my reviews are just for other people. That's how I review things. In fact, I actually got my inspiration for typing reviews from another guy who likes to copy people. So it was a wonderful experience overall.
Oh, it was that guy at that one website, NIG or something.
Yeah, NIG. Philip Mucus, I think was his name. I don't know. Or just whatever. No. But
and you've also been playing Black Ops.
Yes, I have been playing Black Ops. I have actually been playing a decent amount of Black Ops.
I'm gonna have it for a few more days, so we should definitely play together.
Dude, yeah, let me know. I've been playing Blackout. I've been playing the multiplayer. I've played a little bit of zombies, and it's all stellar. I'm really, really happy with it. This is the first Call of Duty game in a while that I've been this excited about.
This is actually the first Call of Duty I've played since Modern Warfare.
I really, 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 really want to get it, but then I also really, really can't afford to.
I will tell you, even with that, with how awesome this game is, just wait until, I would say Black Friday. I'm sure PlayStation will be doing sales. I'm sure you could pick it up at, a Best Buy or something, That's probably what I'll end up doing with Assassin's Creed, just because Man, and I don't even know.
Yeah, you'll probably get $10, $15 off, something like a little Black Friday deal.
Or is not endorsed by Sick Critic, but you could break into someone's house, say your neighbor, and just steal it from them, and just maim them just for bonus points.
That's one way to do it.
By the way, Nathaniel is also wanted by the police for breaking into his neighbor's house and stealing Call of Duty.
Good thing they don't know my last name.
He said I only have it for a couple more days. I'm gonna get busted and I'll be in jail.
I'm up for a good
It's all
challenge.
coming together now.
Blackout in real life.
It's the last man to stay alive in prison. But all right, well let's jump into the news here. The first little bit of news that I want to kind of get you guys' thoughts on is PlayStation has officially come out and said that they are doing name changes. Developers are working on getting this figured out. They're doing a beta later on this year. after freaking 6 years of having these consoles, and even before that, because Xbox was doing it with the 360. Like, what are your guys' thoughts on this?
It
Like,
launches early 2019, right?
Wait. I just need I need a moment of silence for this moment.
Oh god.
I had to crack one for that.
gotta pour one out for the homies.
Thank you, PlayStation. Okay, continue.
God, like, seriously though, like, this is huge news because we have forever now been asking to be like, please let us change our names. Like, for me personally, I've had a PlayStation 4 the entire console generation. Like, I got it a little bit after it actually released. So I was one of the ones that spent like $400 on it. And I was over at a buddy's house. I wasn't real creative. And I was just like, David Fraley 27. It was not creative at all. So now it's like, now that I have, a brain, I want to think of a better username for that, like
Like
okay.
David Fraley 28.
Yeah, like, I mean, it matches my age. But seriously, like, I mean, this is super huge news, and I'm just kind of curious, like, if you guys have PSN names that you don't like, or even if you do like, I'm like, what would you change yours to when they fully enable this for everybody?
So I have like a different take on it. I'm like, this should have been a thing so long ago that honestly it's like I don't care, because I like am really careful at picking my names, and I'm like, well, this should have been implemented 6 years ago, and it's just yeah, I don't care.
Oh, I mean, I don't
It
disagree
unaffects
with
me,
you.
but
I mean,
I can see how it's important for other people. Devin, you were gonna say something.
Yo, I was just gonna say I'm probably gonna change my name to Hello Kitty Island Adventure 2.
Are you single? Not for
yes.
me. I have some friends who are looking.
Oh.
They're also
Well,
guys, so.
Oh, never mind.
But I personally like, just to kind of keep everything like, all together. Like, I would probably use the same gamer tag that I have on the PlayStation or the Xbox, which is Foxtrot Echo 947. Like, I don't know.
Wait, what?
Huh?
What's the numbers?
I don't know. The original Foxtrot Echo was already taken, and so was 9-4. So I just threw a 7 on it.
So you're like a ripoff of all of them.
Dang.
Yeah. But I have yet to come across any online.
You're like Pepsi.
Dang.
But you're
Sure.
like 1,000 times removed, just like the worst Pepsi, the worst version of it.
Pepsi Crystal.
Meth.
Have you guys tried that Pepsi Crystal stuff yet?
I thought
Have you guys?
I thought you made that up.
No, that's like a legitimate drink.
It's real.
It was like, apparently, not to get super sidetracked, but it was a cola that they brought out like way back in the day, and it's just clear, so it looks like Sprite, in a regular clear bottle. And my dad brought some home. He's like, "Oh," he goes, "you gotta try this," and I was like, "All right, cool." And I drink it. I'm like, holy sweet Jesus, this is sweet, like super sweet. And I look at the nutrition panel, and I'm like, there's 69 grams of sugar. Like, no wonder I tasted diabetes the minute I took a sip. Like, I'm not even joking you. Like, I literally was like, my blood sugar just flew through the roof.
Yeah, I tried only meth, so only crystal meth.
Yeah, only meth.
I was about to say, it sounds like a name of like a hardcore drug. But
I mean,
Pepsi Crystal.
just don't leave it out and let it crystallize.
You want some crystal?
Yeah, you want some crystal?
The person's like frothing at the mouth. They're like, yeah, and it's just, oh, it's just Pepsi. What's wrong with you?
He like walks up to you on the street with like a long trench coat. He's like, "You want some crystal meth? I've got some right here." And he like opens up and he's just like a refrigerator door that he opens up, and it's
Where's the refrigerator door?
In his jacket, he's got a refrigerator in his jacket.
Dude, I'm just letting you know. It was a pretty
Speaking
big
of refrigerator jackets, apparently
should have been
Microsoft
there.
bought Obsidian.
Wait. That transition. Okay.
Oh my god.
Try again.
Oh, we haven't asked Will. What are your opinions on the PSN name changes?
Well, personally, I don't like that they charge for it after like the first one, but yeah, I mean,
Well, to be fair though, Xbox does the same thing. Now, I do have a little bit more information on the PlayStation 1 that it's better than Xbox's. So, with Xbox, if you just got a brand new console and you go to create your name or whatever, that's like they will generate one or something for you, and then you can change it the first time to whatever you want for free. Anytime after that, you have to pay like $10, I think it is,
or $5. I think if you're PS
already giving them money,
something like that.
Well, no, that with
Xbox. I thought you were talking PSN. My bad.
No, you're fine. But you're going into what I was going to eventually touch on. Is the Xbox, like, no matter if you pay for gold or if you're just a standard member who doesn't want to play online because you just don't like people, you literally pay $10 every single time you change your name. With PlayStation, they are doing it where if you do not pay for PlayStation Plus, it's $10 every time you want to change your name after the first time. If you are a PlayStation Plus subscriber, it's only $5, which is a neat little incentive, but at the same time, how many times are you having to change your name?
Every day.
Like, seriously, like, after a while, it's like, come up with one that you like and leave it at that. Like, I don't need to be changing my name like 5 times every month. You know, like, get a different one for the week or a different one for the seasons or something. So, but I don't know, I thought that was kind of neat that they, that they did that, like, if you do pay for PlayStation Plus, because it's like, okay, like, you're already giving us enough money, we'll cut down the price for you having to change your name. But yeah, so, the next bit of news that I thought was really interesting, especially because they haven't really put out anything that's, like, console-based in a little while, was that Microsoft is planning to buy Obsidian. So, for those of you that don't know who Obsidian is, I guess the better game that they've released over the past couple years has been Fallout New Vegas, which had huge popularity. Everybody seemed to really, really dig that game. And I know a lot of people have been asking for Bethesda to do another thing with Obsidian to make like another, like side story or whatever for Fallout, since they did such a good job with New Vegas. They have decided to like not necessarily go down that route, and they've been doing some like D&D inspired games called Pillars of Eternity. The most recent one being released just like last year was Pillars of Eternity 2. And they've been doing this off Kickstarter and everything. And I actually just bought Pillars of Eternity 2 for PC a couple weeks ago, and it's actually really, really cool. So, like, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Like, do you think that should have been, like, you think this is, like, a good idea for them? Do you think maybe there's, like, another developer maybe they should have been focusing on instead of Obsidian? Like, what's your guys' thoughts on this?
I think it's a good buy considering the position that Obsidian's been in, mainly because you know how they went through that quite a bit of, I don't know if I want to call it financial. I mean, they were in a pretty spot about a couple years ago, after they did, what was it, that game they did, like South Park, I believe.
Oh, and, yeah, shoot, I forgot about that.
The Stick of Truth, and they weren't making a lot of money, and now that's why they kind of had to go to Kickstarter to fund their games. And it's a solid studio that's proven that can make good games. I just think this is like I think it's an excellent buy for the price, like to get Obsidian. I don't think if Obsidian was killing it, like we're saying, like they made like a new Fallout expansion, I don't think Microsoft comes in so immediately. But I guess it's just a good bang for your buck kind of deal. That's just kind of how I look at it.
Mm-hmm. No, I definitely agree with you. Nathaniel, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't really have many thoughts. I mean, I don't have much of a stock in
I have
Obsidian.
No thoughts.
But I guess basically I didn't Obsidian that coming. Does that almost work? I did not see that coming.
Cricket.
Cricket. Oh,
No, I mean it is one of those things where it's like you didn't really like. I'll be honest with you, like I didn't think that they were gonna buy Obsidian like that. For me, if I had to like list a studio or whatever, I feel like maybe I would have bought like Platinum or something.
Yeah, I guess it just kind of squashes any chance of there being kind of like a Fallout spin-off, at least on both consoles.
I will tell you, it might not.
Even though they're owned by Microsoft?
Well, here's what would happen is, one, they will probably never do this. This is all just for sake of conversation because I believe Bethesda's already come out and said, like, we don't really want to do anything with them. I could be totally wrong and talking out of my butt, but you can let me know in comments below. But with Microsoft owning Obsidian, if Obsidian decided to do something with Bethesda and Bethesda allowed it, what would probably happen is you would have some sort of exclusive content on Microsoft. But with Bethesda being the behemoth that they are, I don't think that would ever happen. They wouldn't put exclusive stuff on there because then you'd have the same thing with Activision and PlayStation, and so many people are already pissed off about that. So it would be a giant cluster of things, and more people would start complaining.
I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I just saw a Video Game Donkey petting a donkey, and I'm just at a loss for words.
Wow.
But I mean, I think it's, if they officially decide to buy them, that'll be a good thing. I'll be actually very curious to see if they buy them, if they bring Pillars of Eternity 2 to Xbox, because they already have Pillars of Eternity 1, and a lot of people really like that, hence the reason why they made a second one. But yeah. Will, what are your thoughts on this?
Oh, well, as far as, I think I agree with Devin. I think it's a great bang for their buck, given their experience and all that. I basically agree with him. And Sony, they acquire some stuff, and I think I saw someone say earlier, it's basically what it's going to come down to is just acquiring studios and stuff like that.
Well, and I think what Microsoft has been trying to do, as they showed even at E3 when they started buying like Playground and just a bunch of other studios I can't necessarily think of off the top of my head. They are trying to build up their first party lineup. Like, their first party lineup was pretty much just Halo, Gears, and Forza. Like, that's all they had. So, and then you look at Sony, and it was like, oh, we've got Naughty Dog, we've got... Yeah, it's like Sony's got a plethora of developers that are creating...
Wait. Say that word again.
Plethora?
Plethora,
tomato.
placenta, whatever you want to say.
Jesus. For those of you that don't know, Devin was making fun of my quote-unquote northern accent.
Wait, say bully.
No, I'm not going to say bully.
Don't we have a topic on bully? So he won't have a choice.
That bully.
It sounds like you're saying Wally or something.
I hate you so much right
Sounds
now.
like you're saying like
Bally.
quaffle.
Somebody told me that I had like a Minnesota accent, and I'm like, I'm from
Minnesota.
Toledo.
It's Minnesota.
Minnesota.
All right, next PlayStation.
Jesus.
Now that we're done roasting David.
Yes, okay, so next bit of news is the next PlayStation has been nearly officially confirmed. They've already said, like, hey, we are actively working on this. They didn't really give any other details outside of that. With that being said...
It's
go
the
ahead.
PlayStation Switch. They've announced that it's going to be half the size of a Switch and is going to have half the buttons. And you just throw it at walls. That's the new feature.
Throw it at walls.
And when you do that, you unlock another trophy, which is like throwing it at a wall and not breaking that console.
Yeah, and I heard they're going to implement
crazy.
paid trophies where when you unlock a trophy, you have to actually buy it for $1.
Dude,
No, so we don't really have any information like on the name or what it is. It's just like
put a paywall for achievements.
But yeah, I mean, we know literally nothing outside of the fact that they have come out saying that they are going to be making a new console. They're already working on it. They haven't said anything else on that. But
yeah.
Well, they have, and they
kind of commented on number 5, right? Like vaguely.
So, yeah. So like, they said they're actively working on it, but they also said don't expect anything for at least a minimum of like 3 years.
Really?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
and then he said, at least 3 years. I mean, I'd say you probably see an announcement 2019, 2020, but you're not going to see an actual console till 2021, 2022. And the main reason, and Sean Layden had an interview, probably about, I think it was like last week, and he was kind of going into it about saying mostly because of the ramifications of what they're trying to do and the technology they're trying to push, it's just not ready yet. So there's no point for them to come out with a console like next year. They want to push the boundaries, and I think Microsoft's doing the same thing.
Okay.
But also, if you look at what Sony's also been doing as far as updates wise, I mean, if you look at for one reference, the PS and name change, the new update that's coming out, 6.0. You also look at they're discontinuing support for the PlayStation 3. There's like a lot of playing around with cross-platform. There's like a lot of little hints that are showing they're taking the steps to push for the next gen console. So I mean, I think we're definitely getting on the way. And it's been 5 years, and console cycles ever since past 2000s been like every 6 or 7 years you get a new console. So I mean, it's definitely time. So like, I always kind of laugh when people are like making up like, oh, the new next gen console's coming out, like they're surprised. I'm like, it's time, especially the way technology's going these days. But
yeah, I'm actually glad it's not coming out like next year or anything, or like in a year and a half, because I feel like that's too soon.
It feels soon. Yeah, like I feel like I got my PlayStation like yesterday.
I mean, I literally got it at the beginning of this year, but I like had one like before that. But yeah,
I think there's so many other games that are coming out yet. Like, I almost like, and I'm still trying to like, I would want to save up for those consoles because I don't necessarily want to get rid of my current gen ones that I have right now, because those are still going to be like, there's still plenty of games on those that I like to play.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I think it's a great idea that they're just pushing for great new technology and just a bigger jump. So I would love to see what that looks like and actually see them like really put stock behind that.
Yeah. Well, with all that being said, like, what are some things that you guys would like to see come with these new consoles? And it's not just necessarily like hardware-wise. Like, what would you guys like to see software-wise? What are some features maybe that these new consoles, like, what you would like to see them offer?
Downloadable version of Hello Kitty Island Adventure 2.
Do we really need to say anything else?
I will buy you that game.
That's it. You do that, and I'm buying it day one.
But
I want my console to meow at me.
That would be
awesome. Yes. That would be perfect.
Maybe like glow like pink eyes at you too.
So I think power-wise, obviously there's going to be a huge jump, and that's something we're going to see regardless. As for technology, I mean, I feel like there's going to be an even bigger push for VR. So I don't think it's something necessarily people want, but it's a thing that's going to happen.
No, I agree with you on that. Anything
else?
And
I think like with the stronger power, there's going to be like more smooth gameplay and just a better experience. So I think PlayStation 4 was kind of a step towards VR. It wasn't really the right moment, but this might be the right moment.
Yeah, because like at what point is it just... It all feels like we've hit like this plateau as far as gaming in general, just like graphic wise, frame rate wise, stuff like that. And like I feel like they gotta go something kind of crazy like that. Like, I would love to see like VR more implemented on a wider base than just kind of what we have. But I don't know, honestly. They could throw something crazy at me and just blow my mind, or it could just be, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe PlayStation 5 is called like the PlayStation New Birth, and you have kids with it or something. I don't know what technology is going to get to, but yeah. Well, I was thinking more co-creating with PlayStation, so procreating.
That gets all sorts of weird now.
I just want to make you all uncomfortable.
Just slightly. Bet you do.
Just implant the PlayStation in my brain, or make it a pill that I can take.
Jesus Christ.
Joke's on you, you're already in the Matrix.
Keanu?
So Keanu Reeves, dude.
Bro.
David, get out.
I've probably watched The
Okay,
Matrix
okay.
more times than you're alive.
So with that...
Like, the years that you've been alive, like, you take, like, what, 25 now? You're 25? I've watched them probably 100 times.
As your lawyer, you cannot divulge that information, Devin.
I was talking number of years. I'm saying it now.
David, get a smart, David. Get a smart.
There is no smart David. This is a David with half a cup of coffee in him right now. So, this is what you paid for, people.
I've already
It's
had
free,
like 5
so.
caffeines, so get on my level.
Devin's like, get on my level.
In the past 10 minutes.
So, Will, what are some things that maybe you'd like to see come with the new console?
Sly Cooper 5. That's it. That's all I need on my PlayStation 5.
You don't want, like, any, like, the 4K Blu-ray player or anything like that? Like, no hardware advancements? Just...
Yeah, I've never been that big on, like, graphics. I just want more quality, basically.
I can appreciate that.
So Sly Cooper 5 in VR with motion controls, very advanced rumble, and the ability to have kids with the game.
And
you are obsessed with procreation.
And my PlayStation can make me a turkey sandwich on command.
That's made out of your children.
I feel like that's okay.
Wait, what?
Jesus Christ.
Sorry, I've been watching a lot of Hannibal, and everything involves eating people, so...
Okay.
Point noted, Nathaniel is a cannibal. Okay.
You know, there was an episode where they, like, stitched a person inside of a horse's belly, and then they took the person out, and then a bird came out of the person's chest and was alive.
What are you watching?
It's such a beautiful show. Anyway, I think it's about time we get to...
nightmares tonight. Thank you.
Well, real quick, before we jump into, like, our main topics, it's a weird combo this week. I just real quickly want to say that for me, I would love to see PlayStation get the 4K Blu-ray player.
Wait. Why are you sharing? Nobody cares.
Oh, all right. Next topic.
No, go ahead. I'm just kidding.
I had to go with it, dude. Come on. No, I feel like that was something that they kind of skimped out on. Especially because Blu-ray is a Sony product. And Xbox has it and the PlayStation doesn't, which I thought was really, really weird. But I personally think that, we will definitely be seeing more of the streaming stuff. I know last week's episode or the week before that, we were talking about, me and Devin kind of got into a debate over, like, the streaming services and everything. And for as much as I don't necessarily like it, I have also been using the NVIDIA GeForce Now, which is a streaming service, and the more and more I use it, the more and more I actually like it, because I can actually own the games still. They're still digitally copied. I'm just playing them, on powering the graphics from a different server that's on their end of things, which I'm all for now, because I have a toaster of a PC, and I don't have a graphics card on it, so I am never able to play any PC games, and now I've just kind of been able to jump into that space, and it's a beautiful space, by the way. And I'm surprised Devin's not actually like crying tears of joy right now, because I've been a console gamer for God knows how long.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I was just waiting. I was waiting for you to come around, and
I was just waiting for this, like. And Google's been doing it now too. Apparently, you can play like Assassin's Creed, through their services now as a part of their beta testing. So, I definitely think though that with this next console generation, both Xbox and PlayStation are going to come out swinging. Like, there is going to be. I feel like it's going to be almost kind of blurred lines as far as like which console's going to be like more powerful or which one's better. Like, I feel like they're both going to be trying to utilize some of the same like components hardware wise, and I think that really the only thing that's going to separate the two of them is going to be their console exclusives. So
well, we know who wins that.
People.
I know there's this interesting sort of prospect. A lot of people sort of expect them to ruin it.
Really?
Yeah, because they sort of got cocky after the PS2 and sort of ruined the PS3. So a lot of people feel like they're going through that same sort of routine now and could possibly ruin the PS5.
Yeah, we had this conversation last week in the podcast as well, maybe 2 weeks ago, when we were saying that this happened to Microsoft as well. Like, after the 360, they were on that high horse because the PS3, like, same situation, came out and they wanted to do all that, ridiculous stuff with it. And, like, me including, I went and sold my Xbox because of it, bought a PlayStation. Haven't looked back since. So, who knows?
Yeah. But I think, like, with them, like, finally doing the PlayStation name changes, and they've even been talking about doing, like, backwards compatibility with, like, the PlayStation 4 and everything on the PlayStation 5 or whatever they decide to name their next console, I think they're, like, trying to make sure that they don't make that same mistake. And Xbox, with them, possibly purchasing Obsidian, they've purchased a bunch of other first-party studios, they're doing all this, like, fan service, for people. Like, I legitimately think, like, both consoles are going to be, like, utterly fantastic next generation. And then you have the Switch, and then the Switch has just been fantastic since it dropped.
You've been playing too much We Happy Few lately, haven't you?
Who, me?
You been taking that joy pill?
Fantastic.
Bro, I don't even have to take a joy pill.
Fantastic.
I live on joy. That's my. I get overly hyped. That's why, like, I love talking to Sam, who, for those of you that are, like, maybe new to this podcast, that Sam is one of our other writers. And I feel like there's some, like, I get overly hyped on things, and I feel like he is, like, my polar opposite. He, like, helps bring me back down and see things in a more realistic manner. Because I'm like, I don't know, I feel like a little kid every time a new game comes out. I'm like, oh, I love this thing so much. And he's like, whoa, there's frame rate and all this other stuff. You need to, like, tone it down. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, dude. So he helps me see the realism in things.
That's nice.
So, but all right. On to the final main topic. It is a combo.
Wombo combo.
Wombo combo.
Wombo combo.
We are going. I feel like it's gonna be mainly me just kind of having a quick rage moment before we go into the one I feel like we're actually gonna spend some good time talking about.
Yeah, because I actually got nothing to say about it because it doesn't affect me.
I personally just kind of wanted to talk about midnight releases for video games. I know not a whole lot of people really care about it. Some people really like them because it's like a little bit of like a tradition or whatever of them going to a GameStop and waiting in the freezing cold in the dead of winter, till midnight, waiting for this game to release. I haven't waited for a game to release since, for years now at a GameStop because I don't want to stand outside in the weather waiting for a game. So I've always started now buying all of my games digitally. Well, now it's a case of now I gotta sit there and wait till midnight when it releases on like a Thursday, or it releases on a Friday, but at Friday at midnight. Well, I personally can't stay up that late because I have to work in the morning. So there's some people that are very, very lucky that, oh, it goes midnight, I don't work till like 2 in the afternoon the next day or whatever, I can go play this game. Or I don't work at all, so I can go play it. And I kind of feel like I don't know, like for me personally, I just would like to see those be released like earlier in the day. Like maybe like 7 p.m. that day. That way it's like a lot of people that can afford it probably get off right around 5. You can go and play the game at 2 hours after you get home. It gives you some time to eat dinner, get situated before the game actually launches, and you can jump in and just start playing the heck out of it. And I think
actually I do have some thoughts on that, and that's like that's really only for physical, because if you go digital, and I know some people still are not on the digital train, but I totally am. I get like 90% of my games digitally, and you if for example, if you have a PlayStation, you get to play at least for me, like on the Pacific time, I get to play at 9 p.m. Like that's the console launch for PS4 games. So if I buy it digitally, I get to play at 9, and that's like totally fine for me. If it's midnight launch, I really just wait till the next day, because I'm like, it's not worth it unless you're going to stay up the whole night and don't really have anything to do the next day.
Well, see, for me though, like where we live, I mean, unless they do like it's a midnight Eastern time launch, and then whatever time it is around the rest of the world. So while you get it at 9, I still get it at midnight. So I still end up having to wait until the next day, which, causes, it just causes my day to go by really slow. Because obviously, like, it's a game I'm really looking forward to. Like, all day Friday I'm at work, and I'm like, man, I'm like looking down, like, it's been 3 hours, and I look down at the clock, and I'm like, it's been 30 minutes. And I'm like, I just want to go home and play Call of Duty. I want to get back into Blackout and just go bananas on everybody that's playing with me. And, like, I couldn't do it. And I'm, like, so upset about it.
Well, I guess that's what happens for living in a sucky state, so.
I mean, just the East Coast in general.
Like, okay, back in the day, I used to appreciate it because, like, I used to go to midnight releases for just about everything when I was in high school. Somewhat through, like, certain games when I was through college. Now, like Nathaniel, I do get most of my stuff digitally, if I can. And back then, like a few years ago, I thought it was awesome. I used to love the experience. Like, I went and got Elder Scrolls Skyrim at midnight when it came, and I sat in line. I was like, literally, I kid you not, the second person in line in the freezing cold, and I waited to get it and got it at midnight. Went home, and I kid you not, I like just went to school the next day just super tired, didn't care, but like back then it was more of an enjoyable experience for me. Now that I'm older, I have a job and I actually have to do stuff, I don't really care as much. It's not a big deal to me, but I still think for that younger generation that is like to do stuff like that, it's like more about that little experience, and I think that's why they should keep it, not so much for me. Whereas I have enough patience now. I don't care if I play it at midnight, or to be honest with you, I'm going to be so busy, might be lucky to pick it up for an hour the next day, let alone, midnight the next day. So, like, I don't know. I wouldn't like to see him take it out for any reason. I just think it was kind of like a cool little pastime.
I don't know. Like I said, it's my own personal, vendetta, I guess. I would like to, be able to, like, enjoy that, jumping in and playing the game, at the same time that everybody else is, and like, oh, are you jumping on at, 7 p.m. or whatever to play? No, yeah, well, let's do this. Instead of being like, well, I could risk, like, sleeping through my alarm the next morning if I try to stay up late to play, even for, like, an hour with my friend. My friend doesn't work till, like, 11 o'clock, so he can kind of swing it, but I wake up at like 6, so like, I don't know, I guess it's like the little, like the younger person in me, and I'm 28 now, so it's like I still want to have like that enjoyable experience, because like I did the same thing like that you said, Devin, was like I didn't do it for Skyrim, but I did it for Fallout 4. Like, me and my friends were, like, super duper psyched for it. Called off the next day, like, said I wasn't going into work, and went and stood out in the, you know, the freezing cold or whatever, because I think it was, like, a November release. I don't quite remember. And, like, we had all of our TVs and everything set up in his living room. And it was just, like, a really cool experience to, like, sit there, boot it up, you know, and play with all four of us. You know, we're all sitting there like, oh, like, what's your guy look like and everything, you know. And I just, personally, I missed that experience. So that was my little rage moment on that. But for the actual main topic, underrated titles. So we're going to talk about roughly 3 different games here that were really good games, but we just didn't feel like they got the recognition that they deserved.
Yeah, and I think what started us off is just like The World Ends With You, which was originally a DS game, then came out on phones. It just came out on Friday, which was yesterday to date this podcast. But so both times it released, it's critically acclaimed both times. I mean, this time it's scoring just a little bit lower, I think. And I think that's because on the TV it has like these weird motion controls. But it's probably one of the most creative, unique, like best games I've played. But people just don't seem to respond to it either because it's not really marketed well, or it's just so niche that people are just like, I don't know. It's just so good, and not enough people have played it.
Well, let me ask you this real quick. So, for somebody, and I guess I'm speaking for myself in with this because I've heard of the game, but I've never played it. So, what to you makes the why is this game considered underrated for you? Like, what about it makes it so great? Like, if you're trying to sell this to somebody.
Yeah. So it's just so it is set in Japan, and its story is like kind of it's not really anime. It's like I don't want to give a lot of it away, but basically it just has such a different gameplay, and it is like touch screen based, and it is like gesture on the screen, but it just has a different leveling system and difficulty system, and it has a great story, and just like everything about it plays out in a way that you just don't see in other video games. They just tried everything different, and they nailed everything. Like, I don't really have complaints with this game. It's just honestly the closest that you have to a perfect experience for video games.
What type of game is it? Like, is it like an RPG?
It's an RPG.
Okay.
But so basically you use pins in this, so you're like stuck in this Reaper world, and you've died, and you have to kind of have to survive a week of different trials in order to escape and make it back to the real world. And you have a partner that you fight with, and it's just kind of you two trying to survive. So it's oozing with personality. It has this amazing like hip hop inspired soundtrack, and it's just so much personality, and I just will never get over this game.
Now, you said this is for mobile, correct?
It is on mobile, but it currently just came out on Switch, Nintendo Switch. That's the most recent release on Friday, and it's The World Ends With You Final Remix. It has more content at the end for those who have played it and are looking for more. So it's just overall just a solid game that I feel like everyone looks over. Maybe it's just not meant to be, but yeah, if you haven't played this game, like, go play it.
Have you played it on both? Like,
I've
mobile
played
and
it.
Switch?
I've played it on Nintendo DS originally, then on my iPhone, and then I just got it on Nintendo Switch, and it's just as amazing as it was when it first came out in like 2008.
So there's not like a particular platform that it plays better on, or that you would like recommend somebody playing it better on?
I think Nintendo Switch would be the best platform just because it's a bigger screen, and you could see like the really beautiful graphics, hand-drawn graphics, just much better either on your TV or on your... I think playing it handheld is the ideal way to play it.
I might have to check this out, because like I said, I mean, I've heard about it, but I haven't ever played it.
Yeah, it's
so
just
kind of like,
it's just such
maybe
a
it might
time.
be due to their marketing. Like you said, like they haven't marketed the game very well, so it's not reaching, like outside. Like if you wouldn't have said anything about it, I would never have heard about it.
Right, and it's just I feel like it's such a shame. But also it's $50 instead of $60, so you get kind of a little bit of a cheaper price compared to full price game.
Do they have like a demo or anything for it on the Nintendo Switch store?
I don't think so. Just check out a trailer, you'll get a pretty good idea.
Okay. Well, maybe what we'll do is we'll maybe like see if we can put like a link with the trailer somewhere.
Yeah. And did I mention that I absolutely love this game and want to have babies with it? That was for you, David, just because...
Man, I'm just telling you, you are...
Maybe I'm getting to that age, okay, and I'm like getting old and I'm not going to be able to have kids soon because obviously I'm a woman.
Why do we keep going back to this procreation thing?
I'm just really trying to... I'm just really trying to make you guys uncomfortable.
Man, yeah.
Will, you got a game that you think might be a little underrated?
Well, I just found out that it's like critically acclaimed, sort of, but I think Super Paper Mario on the Wii was kind of underrated because it has like vastly different mechanics to the other ones, and the story isn't like quite the same, but I actually think it's like really like one of the best story Nintendo games ever.
It actually didn't sell like amazing, so yeah, it is pretty underrated. Anyway, you want to go into more about what makes it so great, Will?
Well, I think it's a different type of like with Nintendo. You expect like way more lighthearted stuff, but like they go into some very dark places with this story. Like there's a point where the game entirely is about stopping this great catastrophe, basically like your standard Mario stuff, but like you don't like as you're trying to stop it, like this entire like universe is like being destroyed in front of you, and they're like, yeah, all you gotta do is make it to the end and it'll be stopped and whatever, and like you just don't stop it, and it's pretty sad actually.
And you said this was for the Wii?
Yeah, it was for the Wii, and it's not like a standard picture.
I say there's I mean I had a Wii game console, and I think like I remember hearing something about Paper Mario, but I didn't.
Yeah, I played through the whole thing, and so Thousand Year Door was for GameCube, and that game it sold pretty well, I think. And it was more of a traditional RPG, but just different than our other RPGs. I mean, it's just because it was like everything was paper. It was really creative with the environments and everything. But Super Paper Mario kind of deviated a little, and where it took it to more kind of platformer gameplay, and it kind of got rid of that turn-based combat. So it tried some really bold new things for the franchise, and I really enjoyed it. I played through the whole thing, but I think it just was kind of overlooked and people just didn't really care. And the people that really liked Paper Mario, a lot of them got turned off by the turn-based combat.
Yeah, so I cannot speak on Paper Mario titles at all because I've never played one.
Oh, dude, Thousand Year Door for GameCube, phenomenal.
Yeah, you should
see. And I probably would have played that had I had a GameCube.
Yeah, I
had to always go over to my buddy's house to play it, and like every time we did, we would only ever play like Super Smash Bros. Or we'd play like one of the James Bond, like I think it was like Agent Under Fire, and we would just sit there for hours and just
is like Paper Mario is one of the few instances where Nintendo really pours into a story for a game, and it's just hilarious and sometimes dark and just really witty dialogue.
Well, I guess if anybody's listening to this and they have an operating Wii still that still works because mine broke, go ahead and give that a shot. Kind of let us know in the comments below, like if you've had it before, like what you think about it, and if you haven't, you try it out. Like, let us know your thoughts on that.
And please go out and buy The World Ends With You. I'm literally playing it right now. I just do it. Just please do it, or I will track you down. And
I can play this game and podcast at the same time. Like I said, I may have to try that out just because it does sound like it's kind of right up my alley as far as like hand drawn stuff. Like I love anything that's kind of like that. And I love RPGs, so I may have to give this a
There's
shot.
another game that you really love that's kind of underrated, and kind of is the last thing we're going to talk about.
Oh God, here we go. So, I know I've already caught crap for this before, but I'm gonna bring this up because it still is like one of my favorite games of all time, and that is Lawbreakers. To kind of jump on my soapbox here for a little bit, Lawbreakers was extremely underrated. Like, the shooting mechanics with how smooth it ran, there was never, like, I never experienced any sort of frame rate drop or anything. Everything seemed really well balanced, and I enjoyed the fast paced gunplay. Like, it was, and I knew that, you know, like, a lot of people were kind of getting away from, like, the advanced movement systems and everything, and I understand why, but, like, the characters that were in that game each, like, had their own set of movement. Like, it wasn't, like, the same across the board as it was with, like, your Call of Duty titles, where everybody had, like, the same jumping techniques. It didn't matter what operator or whatever that you used. And it just, like I said, I thoroughly thought it was a freaking phenomenal game. I had an absolute blast with it, and it just did not get the recognition that I feel it deserved. I feel like
honestly, like, just totally bombed and just nobody played it, which is, to me, is just, like, astounding. Reason behind that was, it's, like you said, like, you actually gifted me the game a while ago, and I played it, and it's phenomenal. Like, it's probably one of the funnest online shooters I've played.
Yeah, like, but I think the thing that hurt it the most, and I've talked about this to, you know, just exhaustion, that it kept getting compared to Overwatch,
which it is not.
And it's not, but that was, like, the main thing, because you're like, oh, you have different characters, so it's kind of the same thing as Overwatch, and they all operate differently. Oh, Overwatch's characters operate differently. It is, like, the furthest thing from Overwatch. Overwatch, I don't know, like, Overwatch is a very team-based shooter game, and Lawbreakers had that. Like, it was still team-based, but it wasn't so much to a point where, like you could pick the medic and he could still deal damage, whereas, like, if you're gonna play as Mercy on Overwatch, you're not really dealing damage. Your main goal is to heal your opponent or heal your teammates and buff their weapons. There's no causing of damage.
Overwatch was set up more like your traditional, I don't want to say like a traditional MOBA, but as far as classes are concerned, it's set up like a traditional MOBA. Is you have your supports who are primarily there to, you know, be a support class. They're not meant to do damage. Whereas that's why the classification to comparing it to Overwatch was, like, extremely misguided, because it was, like you said, it's probably one of the farthest things from Overwatch. I would honestly go as far to say, because, you know, I went on this rant with you before, I do love the game as well. You know, I'll probably say that openly twice ever in my life. I did enjoy the game a lot as well. And me, especially being, you know, me being the huge Gears of War fan that I was, knowing that Cliffy B was behind this, I was all on board. But I would go as far to say this is probably one of the most underrated games in the past decade, only because a game of that quality having less than 100 people play it at one time just blows my mind. Like, I cannot wrap my head around how there's not even 100 people in the world who wanted to play this game.
Yeah.
And that was for PC numbers. Like, I don't understand that.
Well,
I don't get it.
And the thing that blew my mind as well was all these, like, major gaming outlets, you know, like, you had your IGNs, you had us, you had GameSpot, you had all these big gaming outlets, and they all rated this thing pretty high. Like, it did not get, like, a 7 or a 6 or anything. You're seeing, like, 9s and 8.5s and everything. Like, it scored very well.
It had a 76 on Metacritic. IGN gave it a 7.9 out of 10. Polygon a 6.5 out of 10. So,
okay. Well,
what happened?
Yeah, I don't know. like it's just one of those things where, for whatever reason, it just completely just missed the mark, I guess. Like, I don't understand, because I
think the same thing happened with Battleborn. Everyone thought Battleborn was just Overwatch, was basically the same thing. And Battleborn just, is now free to play. It just died. Like, nobody really played it. And I think Overwatch...
I don't even know if you can still play it.
No, you can. Like, but nobody really plays it. Like, what happened, I think, was Overwatch is just such a it just dominated the online shooter market so hard, stylized online shooter, that other games like really didn't stand a chance. And that's unfortunate, but yeah, it's just kind of a testament to how Blizzard has just kind of destroyed the competition in that market, even if they're not that similar.
I think a lot of this has to do with timing.
Yeah, I do agree.
You know, if this were a different time, I think you probably have a different situation here. Because Overwatch at the time when Lawbreakers came out, it had only been out for like a year. I mean, for a game that's it is, like I said, in your sense, a traditional MOBA. Like, League of Legends has been around for years. I've been playing that game for years, and it's still practically the same map. You add new characters, still primarily at the core the same game, and Overwatch still is doing that, but that was a game that was in its infancy. And you're going to come out and try to do something, I don't want to say similar, but it was too soon for them to come out. They needed a way for Overwatch to die down a little bit. And just, honestly, I think a lot of people just hate Cliffy B.
Well, and I know that
if I'm being frankly honest with you.
That was one of the things that a lot of people have come out and said, that his personality was too aggressive.
I feel like not enough people know about Cliffy B and tie him to the game, consumer wise, to where it would be an issue. That's more of a core gamer type.
Well, I think Lawbreakers was very, they even said it was a skill based game, and it was a lot of their slogans pretty much skilled AF. That I literally have a Lawbreakers jersey which was in limited supply that has skilled AF, which means it's if you're not skilled at being a first person shooter, person, you're going to do really crappy on this game. And I think that mentality and that type of marketing kind of scared people away from it, because then they're like, oh well, God, if I just don't play first person shooters and I can't play this casually and it's all very competitive, that's not going to bode well for me when I go to jump in. And I don't care what price point it's at, which is another reason why I thought, why is this game not selling more and more people are playing it? It was $30. It wasn't even a $60 game, which as Overwatch was. If you want to even slightly make a comparison, it was just I don't know, there was so many things that just I don't understand to this day about it, and it really still hurts my freaking heart that Boss Key went under, and the servers for Lawbreakers just recently went offline. You can no longer play this game. And
yeah, it's just insane.
It just sucks. I made a ton of friends via Twitter from playing Lawbreakers. I made friends with the devs from playing Lawbreakers and being such a huge follower. I have never, ever followed a game so hard in my life. And I play Rocket League like it's going out of business. I loved Lawbreakers. I bought the extended edition when I found out it was coming to PlayStation. I just tweeted at these guys left and right, made friends with the devs. I knew pretty much almost everybody on the team. I was so amped for them. I applied to Boss Key because I was I just want to be surrounded by these people and be a part of this team that made this game, But yeah, it's it just, I don't know, it still just sucks to this day that it happened and that it didn't get that recognition, because I think that it was, and still is to this day, one of the better first-person shooters. And if I had to place money on it, I would still love playing that over some of the first-person shooters we have today.
So what you're saying is that we should get on Black Ops and forget about underrated games and just feed the massive consumer beast.
Exactly. I'm so glad somebody got the subliminal messaging behind all of what I just said.
Well, he has his eye open.
Yes, my third eye is open. Some call me Cyclops when I close all my eyes and go to sleep, but it's fine. But yeah, so do we have any other underrated titles we wanted to talk about before closing this bad boy out?
I mean, I think we could close off just talking a little bit about What Remains of Edith Finch is kind of our last game if we want to hit on it. So I've played through that game twice. Both times with a different friend, and it's just some people I think before we were talking about the podcast, you kind of mentioned the whole like walking simulator thing where some people kind of thought it was that and they just kind of stayed away. Honestly, it's probably one of the best video game experiences I've gone through just because it's just so unique and different and it makes you feel so many things.
Well, and
it was just...
Go ahead.
Or
I'll go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's just... It wasn't really a walking simulator. It did have like a lot of walking, but it just had some really creative ideas for gameplay that I really thought enhanced the storytelling, and I thought it was just so great, and I loved it.
Well, and I wish more people, and I don't know, like I didn't really follow too much of the reception around this. I did the review for it. I thought it was fantastic. I personally don't feel like it was that big of like a walking simulator because there was a lot of stuff that you were still interacting with. So
yeah, and it's like I almost like don't want the stuff to be mentioned because it's just so creative the way it implemented gameplay.
Yeah, like I mean, if you want to talk about like a walking simulator, I would go as far as like talking about Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. Well, or even Firewatch. Like those are games where you are literally just walking through a space that the developers have designed for you, and you very, very minimal interaction with anything. And not to take away from those games, like I've played both Everybody's Gone to the Rapture and Firewatch, and I thought they were phenomenal. Like I loved the storytelling and everything behind them. But
for the people who like don't like them, they
like they literally just like, I don't want to sit around and walk. Like I'd much rather run around and shoot people, which is fine. But it's like for me, like I liked those because it was a little bit of a break from all of that. Like, oh yeah, like I'm a huge Call of Duty person, but I don't want to shoot anybody right now. I just want to be told a story. And if I have to just walk or interact with a few things to be told that story, that's fine. And that's what Edith Finch did. Edith Finch told these absolutely... And they weren't... And the cool thing about it was that it was like this ginormous story that had a bunch of mini stories all within it. And I loved that because each story was different, and it told of how that family member had died, and it was just very, like, some of them were, like, kind of funny, like you're playing the one where they're, like, the, and not to, like, downplay it.
Yeah, I think rather than going into it, it's just, like, the game had such a gravity to it, but it had, at the same time, such a playfulness, and it was genuinely just fun and heartbreaking. It was just... Yeah, I would play through it still again. It's just such a unique experience.
Well, I played through it twice. Like, I think I'm almost...
Yeah, I played through it twice, too.
I'm almost 100% done with that game. Like, there was one trophy where you're, like, the owl or whatever, and you have to get the rabbits twice on the first, like, swoop, and I never went back and did it, because I was just like, alright, I've played this enough. Like, if that's the one thing that I don't have, then that's fine. Like, I've gotten enough.
Yeah, my friend actually did that on his first try, and I was like, wow, I didn't even get that. But yeah, it's only like 3-4 hours long, so you could do it in one sitting easily. And yeah, really underrated game. Like, go out and play it. But that being said, I think we're about ready to wrap up.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm looking at the time slot, and we are just over an hour. So time to wrap up this week's Sick and Wired podcast. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you, Will, for kind of hopping in. I do hope that we will have you back for more podcasts. I know we're trying to kind of take some of the writers and kind of rotate you guys out every once in a while. So we will definitely have you back if you would like to be back on.
Just one last moment of silence for David as he leaves Sick Critic forever.
Yeah, I'm actually going to add on some audio for my farewell speech. So
I'm drafting up the termination papers.
I'm surprised you're not like drafting up like the new hire like notice.
Hey, Will, we have a new PR position available. If you want to talk to me,
I thought we had hired another guy called David, who's like actually good.
Who's smarter?
Cool. Like a better David. No, we love you.
And shorter.
Like, Just kidding.
But from everybody here at Sick Critic, well, okay, real quick, if somebody wanted to reach out and find you guys, where would they find you? If they want to talk to you about games.
So for me, you'd have to reach out to me on Twitter, NXHUESO. Yeah, that's where you could find me. I'm always sharing funny stuff, or mostly game stuff and poems and stuff like that. So, yeah, follow me there.
Devin?
I'm a recluse.
You can just find him at Sick Critic.
SickCritic.com. Just shoot me an email. Or S1K_Evo. That's my Twitter handle. Or just, yeah. I'm a
Will, where can people find you, buddy?
I'm in the Sick Critic Gaming Discord. Lil Will the Deity on Twitter, and that's basically it.
All right, and then for me, if you want to listen to me post things that are gaming and sometimes non-gaming related on Twitter, it is at DavidFraley27. Yeah, just hit me up with anything. And I think with that, we are done. We will talk to you kids next week.
Yeah, go play The World Ends With You.
Yeah, and mourn for lawbreakers. Bye.